You can do a mic check here. Just 1 second. There we go. There we go. Mic check. All right, all right. So we're good to go. So thank you for joining us. This is a PDR live stream, and please subscribe to the channel and like the live stream. And this is what the map so far looks like right now, according to the NBC News for the House races. Um, and we still have about 5 or 6 races that have yet to be called. And the Republicans remain at 218 seats, with the Democrats reaching the number 212 uh, seats. Of course, it takes 218 to have control of the House. Let me take a look at the here it is breakdown. So correct. So I'm gonna just here it is. Got it. This is a reminder here of the current breakdown. And at the moment, right now on the 118th Congress, we have 220 Republicans um, controlling 220 seats in the House and 213 Democrats uh, controlling seats in the House with 2 vacancies. And this is the current uh, breakdown at the moment here in the House. We have Republicans of 218 with the Democrats at 212. So the Democrats are 1 seat away from breaking even, from having the same number of members of the House that they had in the 118th Congress. So we would be coming into the 119th in the next session in January. The races that the NBC has yet to call are these 5. And I went over these in the last live stream. Of course, the race here in Iowa, I'm sorry, in Maine. Iowa is one of the races, but yeah, here we go. Good. I think we're on. So the race there with and by the way, this race was called, I believe, by uh ABC News, if I'm not mistaken. Um, they had a projection here. So right here on ABC called it. So in Maine's second district, the Secretary of State concluded 4 days of ranked choice tabulations and announced that once minor candidates' second and third choices had been allocated, Democratic Representative Jared Golden had defeated Republican State Representative Austin Theriault 50.35% to 49.65%. Okay. So ABC News has called it that race. So the networks call it different, and the Associated Press called that race as well at 5:50 last night, and they also called the 21st uh, district in California as well. Uh, so, but so on some of the races they've called it, but in the Associated Press they have 212, 218 as well. The Associated Press called the Senate race in Pennsylvania for the Republicans a while ago, but that one has not been called either by some of the other networks. So yeah, there we go. So at the moment, if NBC were to call this, it would bring the number to 213 for the Democrats. The other races that Iowa's number 1 district is just the Republican at the moment has a 801 vote lead with 99% of the votes counted. And this outlook really has not changed since we last spoke. The race in Alaska, of course, is one I've talked about, but what's been happening here is that the Republican they started off, I think, 49.5%, and then they went down to 49.1 as the votes were getting tabulated. Now they're down to 48.9. And this is a seat that the winner needs 50% in order to have control of the seat. So there would be a runoff in this case if no one reaches 50% once 100% of the votes are counted, and they're at 98% at the moment. So we won't know what's going to happen with Alaska until, for a little while. And in Ohio's ninth district, the Republican is ahead, Miller Meeks, but she's only ahead by 801 votes. Here, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. Ohio, that's Iowa. Ohio's this right over here. Marcy Kaptur is still ahead by 0.3% of the vote. She has a 1,200, almost 1,200 vote lead here with 94% of the votes counted. So if the trend continues here, the Democrats are going to keep this seat here. I thought Kaptur was the incumbent, but she might have switch districts because sometimes they do that when the boundaries get changed. And in California's 45th district, um, so this one I think they're still waiting 13th. So I don't know why they don't have the 13th here, but the 45th district has also not been called. And let's see if I can find it here. Right over here. Michelle Steele and Tran, they're tied, virtually tied. It's a 58 vote difference there with 90% of the vote counted. So that one, it's just neck and neck, that one. So that could go either way there. So that's basically it for today. I just wanted to give you a very brief update on what's going on, and just reiterating again that this election victory by Trump was not really that impressive. There's no evidence here that the congressional candidates rode his coattails. And what that means is that when you have a candidate who's very popular, like let's say Barack Obama, they they're in 2008 when he first ran. Let's actually take a look at the 2008 results. What happens in presidential elections when um, congressional candidates ride the president's coattails is that you see the congressional candidates are actually benefiting from a strong presidential candidate running at the top of their ticket. Okay, so in this race here, you had Barack Obama won 365 electoral votes. He carried 28 states. John McCain, the Republican, carried 22, and Barack almost hit 53% in the popular vote. So let's see, we have the breakdown of this should give us the breakdown of what happened in the House here. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find it. For example, in the House that year, the seats, the Democrats picked up 21 seats there. So they're and they went up from 236 seats. So they had 18 more before the election. They picked up they had a net gain of 21. So they ended up with 257 seats. But we're not seeing the same thing, anything near that in these congressional races. So, and in the Senate in 2008, the Democrats had 49 seats. It was a 49-49 spread before the election, and after the 2008 election, they had a net gain of 8 seats there, bringing their total to 57. And again, we're not seeing that at all in these races, because even if you look at the Senate race, you had a situation where the Democrats had a 51-49 advantage going in, and now the the Republicans have only flipped 3 seats in the Senate, and where in a situation where you had more Democrats running for reelection. So if this was really a red wave, you would be seeing way more Democrats losing Senate seats than actually did, and they're still waiting on the votes here to be finished counting in Pennsylvania, and the Democrat is behind by 21,000 uh, votes at the moment. So I think they're finishing tabulating the mail-in ballots in that state. So that's what the picture looks like. It appears that what happened in this presidential election, that why we're seeing such disparities, for example, like for example in Arizona, Trump winning in Arizona 52 to 46, but yet the Democrats win 50 to 47 in Arizona. It's beginning to look like uh, ticket splitting is going on in some of these states with some of these candidates, that they're voting for the Democrat and maybe in the there are some voters, a significant amount, who are voting Democrat in the House and Senate races, and yet are voting for Trump in the presidential election. So yeah, so the outlook here in the House for the Republicans looks very problematic, because you had a situation in the last Congress where the Republicans removed the House Speaker Kevin McCarthy because they felt that he wasn't going pro MAGA enough for their taste, and it was just a small group of Republicans who mutinied and were able to get him out and elected a new Speaker of the House. So the current Speaker, Mike Johnson, coming in, he has his work cut out for him because he can't really afford. He's gonna. It looks like he's gonna have a smaller majority possibly coming in, or maybe the same majority coming in this House, and so he's gonna have to keep all of these 218 members. Maybe he'll pick up a couple more seats. Maybe it's going to be 218 or 219, or maybe he keeps the 220 number that they had before. But it definitely looks like the Democrats, at the very least, are going to pick up a net gain from their number of 213 to maybe 214, because there's one of these races is definitely going to be called in their favor. So the this also, ironically, I think this is bad news for the House Speaker, but it's good news for Trump in a sense, because he can keep the House in check in this situation, because any false move that the House Speaker makes, there could be possible repercussions for him uh, on that. And in the Senate, the president really has a very small majority, so he can't afford to have, at the moment, 3 Republican senators vote against him in whatever he wants passed or whatever appointments he wants confirmed. Okay, that's basically it. That's the outlook right now. Just wanted to give you guys an update. And there are about 5 to 6 seats that are yet to be called by the CBS, NBC, ABC networks and the Associated Press. Some of the networks have called some of the seats, and others have not called some. So the main seat has been called by the Associated Press, but not by NBC. And I think vice versa. The NBC is called, I think they've called one seat in California that the Associated Press has not called. But that's why we have the same 218 to 12 numbers, but not the same seats being called by all of these networks. But they should be done by next week. All of the seats, with the exception of Alaska. Alaska might take a while because it looks like there's going to be a runoff in that situation. Thank you so much for joining. This is a PDR live stream. Please subscribe and like the live stream. Have a good afternoon.